Tonight, Invest 90L is active in the Gulf of Mexico, and we're monitoring the Eastern Pacific for formation over the coming week. And now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for May the 23rd. Well, this evening across the wide world of tropics, we have no tropical cyclones active across the entire world tonight. Gina is dying off in the South Pacific, but we do have a couple areas of interest. It looks like the Northern Hemisphere might be waking up for a little bit on this May the 23rd. We have had 28 storms form so far this year, and that number could possibly change over the next few days. We are 9 days out from Atlantic hurricane season, and on this day we have Invest 90L, which is quickly moving towards the Gulf Coast. By the end of the day, it'll likely be inland, and I don't expect this to form. Really, the main threat from 90L is heavy rain and gusty winds, not likely to become a tropical cyclone. The environmental conditions are against it in this case. On day 9 of the Pacific hurricane season, though, it's a different story. We have two 10% regions that we've marked in the Eastern Pacific. Very low as of right now. The models are trying to form something by day 5. It's not the most guidance, but it is certainly there. A signal is there, so we'll have to keep a very close eye on that over the next few days. In the Western Pacific, it is very quiet here. That area of interest that we had a couple of days ago is long gone. Same case in the North Indian Ocean. We had an AOI last night. That has since gone away. I know the Climate Prediction Center were noting that we could see some formation in the Bay of Bengal and into the Western Pacific this upcoming week, so we'll have to see if that does occur. But as of right now, quiet North Indian Ocean and quiet Western Pacific. Getting to the satellite imagery, the most notable thing within the Atlantic right now on the satellite imagery is Invest 90L. You can see it very roughly on the satellite imagery. We'll have a closer look in just a bit. Other than that, it's fairly quiet. We do have a couple of tropical. They're not going to really do much at all. In the Eastern Pacific, we are seeing some increased thunderstorm activity around our western area of interest. That's the one we could see more formation around the day 3, 4, 5 period. As we get towards the eastern area of interest, we could be looking towards day 4 or 5, maybe even beyond then for formation. In the Western Pacific, it is fairly quiet here. We do have some thunderstorms active in the Philippines and in South China Sea and getting into the North Indian Ocean. But other than that, nothing really signifying any tropical cyclone formation at all in the Western Pacific. It is very quiet, and it's been a very quiet May. We'll have to see if maybe June is a bit more active, maybe even July. In the North Indian Ocean, that is not much going on here as well, just some monsoonal thunderstorms. Bit more active in the Bay of Bengal than it was last night, but the Arabian Sea, it's just about the same as it was last night. Just a little bundle of thunderstorms trying to blow up some convection off of India. Here is a very close look at Invest 90L. You see it's got a little surface circulation there and a little blow up of thunderstorms, but the environmental conditions are against this, and that blow up of thunderstorms is not enough to call a tropical storm. We and the NHC are giving this a 10% chance of forming. Here's radar, by the way. You can see I'm showing this mainly because of the heavy rain associated with this, and the Weather Prediction Center does have a risk for excessive rainfall across a large region as this does come in. That's really the main thing we're worried about when this comes in, is the heavy rainfall and the potential for gusty winds. Those could be some strong thunderstorms when they come in. And our final floater for tonight is what is left of Gina. I think what's left of Gina is on the center of your screen. There are like 3 interesting things on this screen, but I think it's a central one that is Gina, and you can see it is not really anything anymore. Looking to sea surface temperatures in the Eastern Pacific for both our areas of interest, it is very warm, 28, 29, even 30 degrees Celsius towards Central America and Mexico. In the Atlantic Basin, for 90L, sea surface temperatures are not an issue. It's just, again, the environmental conditions in place. But elsewhere across the Atlantic, the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico and Gulf Stream are continuing to warm up, and the main Central Atlantic is starting to warm up as well, even into the MDR. But we don't typically see formation then until probably August or September. In the North Indian Ocean, it is very warm, once again, 29, 30 degrees Celsius generally in both the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal. A bit below average, though, in the Bay of Bengal. In the Western Pacific, it has the same story as it has been for over a year. Really, it's very favorable there for tropical cyclones, and as it is typically all year long. It's just a question, can we get the environmental conditions to sustain a tropical cyclone? And that just did not happen at all. This May, really haven't seen much of anything after Malaccas and Meggy. Getting to the sea surface temperature anomalies, the main dominating feature once again is that La Nina, and we are seeing where the area in the eastern Pacific above average sea surface temperatures there, 90L within above average sea surface temperatures as well. And looking towards the western Pacific, the South China Sea, northern part of that is a bit below average, and we see some below average regions in the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal. The oceanic heat content in the Atlantic, not too worried about anything taking advantage of this. 90L is north of the big bulk of oceanic heat content with the loop current, but it is increasing steadily, and this will continue to do so as we get towards September. In the Western Pacific and Eastern Pacific, we are seeing pretty high values there, especially in the Western Pacific. It's very widespread. Where our area of interest is towards Mexico, not the greatest oceanic heat content, but the one further out to sea, looks like it does have some good oceanic heat content to contend with, so we'll have to see maybe if that can take advantage of it, but I don't think it will do so. And getting to the On This Day segment, on this day in 2002, Tropical Depression 25P had formed just about 7 degrees south, and this would meander and become Tropical Cyclone Upia, and the nearby islands would see significant impacts from rainfall and gusty winds. Would be a very significant system in terms of impacts. Thankfully, no lives were lost, as the reports say, from this tropical cyclone. So, very interesting late season storm that would occur not too far from the equator. And getting to the naming list, on the Atlantic naming list, we are still waiting on Alex. Let's hope that doesn't come anytime soon. I don't think 90L will grab that name. In the Eastern Pacific, we're looking out for Agatha. And in the Central Pacific, we are still waiting on Hyone. I think I mixed up Hone and Iona, but that's a more interesting name than Hone, as we've said for the past, couple years now. In the Western Pacific, the next name in list 4 is Chaba. And in North Indian Ocean, the next name is Sitrang. And getting to the Southern Hemisphere, we're probably done here, but in the Australian region, we're looking out for Darien. In the Southwest Indian Ocean, we're looking out for Litlama. And in the South Pacific, we're looking out for Hale or Hale. Thank you so much for watching this Tropical Weather Bulletin. We'll have another one tomorrow night.